Experience life in the Amazon rainforest, see the monkeys and wildlife, float on water, fish for piranhas, harvest cacao and pineapple, hike through thick forest, learn about indigenous culture and customs, survive the heat for real, it's really hot and humid, get soaked in the rain, and most importantly, get disconnected from human technology and reconnected with your own human biology and be immersed in nature. This is an item checked off of my bucket list. I can't say that's the same for Whitney because she was more nervous about the wildlife we might encounter, possibly getting scammed, and all the different insects and critters that you can experience, especially mosquitoes. I've stared at maps my entire life of the Amazon rainforest, and I've always been mesmerized by how large it is, how green it is, and just the mystery of how much we really don't know about the place. And because of this experience, it ranks as one of the top destinations I think anyone should visit in Colombia. And it has led me to reflect on something more profound about how we choose to treat and live our lives in the modern world compared to what nature shows us. The people that live along the Amazon River and deep within the forest itself may seem materialistically poor to those of us who live in the developed world, but these people are much richer and connected to life because of something else, and that is the nature that surrounds them.
Experiencing life in the Amazon rainforest is easier than it has ever been. If you're visiting Colombia or if you're already in Colombia, you can just take a flight from Bogota to Leticia and in 2 hours you're there. If your book accommodation is located in the small city of Leticia, then you're basically done. But if you would like to get a more rugged experience, you will have to take a boat up the river that can last between 1 hour to up to 2 hours. Ours was about an hour and a half taking the express boat. And if you want an even more exotic experience, you can choose to book an accommodation that's deeper in the jungle. You can choose to walk for an hour or even more to get to your destination. We chose Cabañas Ecológicas Mu, which it was a 45-minute hike from the community of Mocagua to our destination.
Cross the Amazon River and see the sloths in Peru. It was neat enough to step into another country without having to go through any official customs. From there, the Peruvian guides take you to see the sloths. Without the guides, it would be really difficult to spot them. Although it's incredible to see these creatures basically sleeping, and that's about it. One was scratching their head, I think. It was very sad to learn the reason why they stay halfway up the trees is because if they go too high, the eagles will come down, grab them, and eat them. And if they go too low, and especially during the flooding season, the anacondas will eat them as well. It's rather tragic to know how quickly these humble and defenseless creatures can be eaten by the predators in this ecosystem.
Puerto Nariño. This is one of the largest communities located right on the edge of the Amazon River, and it is actually considered a town with about a population of 8,000 people. This particular community is known as the Natural Nativity of Colombia because of the natural beauty that makes up the town. On top of that, they don't allow any motorized vehicles in the town, and it has nearly path walkways throughout it. This makes it a very peaceful experience for both those who live here and tourists who visit from far away. There, they also have a lookout for you to get above the trees where you can see the breathtaking amount of forest that stretches beyond the eyes can see.
One of the abundant food choices here in the Amazons are piranhas. They'll give you a makeshift fishing pole that's basically a stick with a fishing string on it to go fishing for the small ones, not the big ones. And I think people have got it wrong. Piranhas don't eat humans. Humans eat piranhas. What we caught was tiny, but we ate it with dignity anyways.
Johnny's favorite activity out of the entire experience was harvesting cacao and transforming it into some delicious hot chocolate. The process goes something like this. First, gather the cacao and round them up into a big pile. Second, cut them open and remove all the seeds into a large bucket. Third, strain the white pulp that surrounds the cacao bean, also known as mucilage, by hanging it in a large bag above a bucket or container. This takes about a day, but in the process, you can drink the strained liquid. It was fun to watch the children grab a cup and just scoop it up. They call it vino de cacao, or chocolate wine. It tastes nothing like chocolate, but it is rather sweet and sour like a candy and very refreshing. Fourth, they lay out the cacao beans to dry. Since this process takes a week or two, we jump to the next step with what was harvested just about a week or two ago. Fifth, roast the cacao. In this process, the heat separates the cacao bean from the outer shell, which is quite tough. You have to wait to see some browning on the outside of the shells. If it starts to blacken, then it was roasted too much. 6. Dredge the cacao bean. This is the process by which you physically separate the shell from the cacao bean. You literally have to hit the cacao bean or smack it to get the shell to separate. 7th, take the cacao to the grinder and get it. 8th, boil up some water with the grounded cacao and enjoy yourself a hot chocolate.
In the community of Macau, they have a museum where you can learn about culture, traditions, and the ways of the Tukuna ethnicity. Arguably the most interesting and celebrated cultural custom of the Tukuna people, yet shocking, is the Pelazon. It is a coming-of-age ceremony for girls when they reach puberty. It starts either at their first menstrual cycle or sometime before. In this custom, the girls are isolated from the community for about 6 months and are only to be contacted by the mother and the women figures within the community. The women take the time to teach the girl how to take on the role of being a woman in the Tukuna tribe. They learn things like how to grow food, weave, etc. When the girl is ready, the Pelazon celebration begins, where a handful of selected men dress up in full-body tribal outfits and have sort of a dance competition. The best and most impressive dancer is chosen by the father of the girl to be the girl's spouse. After which, and this is the shocking part, they dance and celebrate all night around the girl, and the women run up to her and yank the hair out of her head until she is completely bald. This also explains why the girls get really drunk before the celebration begins to numb the pain that they're about to experience. Today, the tradition has evolved to something more symbolic and modern. This means no more hair pulling, no more arranged marriages for most of them, and no more isolation from the society for 6 months.
Weaving workshop. There are a few weaving activities to do at the cabanas. We ended up making bracelets that turned out okay. We cannot say that we were very good at it. They are the most perfect, imperfect bracelets we own. The weaving workshop gives you a glimpse of what the indigenous communities have invented and created for themselves for centuries. They weave all sorts of useful items like baskets to hold and store food, strainers to process food, hammocks, fishing nets, jewelry, bags, and some clothing items. Weaving is a continued practice today for more decorative purposes. However, the connection to the globalized world and distribution of manufactured goods has replaced many of these practical items.
Nearby the Macau community is a foundation dedicated to the study and preservation of monkeys in the area. The foundation was not just transformative to the survival of the variety of monkey species in the area, but also transformative to the communities and how men specifically found or did work. When the foundation was established in the early 2000s, considerably not too long ago, hunting monkeys was a form of survival and a highly praised practice. The foundation took on the task of educating tribes about the potential elimination and extinction of monkey species if hunting were to continue, shortly after the majority of communities stopped hunting the monkeys to respect their survival. This meant all those hunters had to find other ways to both make a living and go about their lives and turning to alternative food sources. It was not easy for the majority of them. We met a former hunter who is now very involved with the foundation and tourist industry in the area that has sprung up over the years. And he shared his personal perspective of how difficult it was to transition from being a hunter as a middle-aged man. He was roughly 40 years old when he had to stop hunting. And I mean, imagine living your entire life learning a skill and trade to one day learn how destructive it is to the ecosystem around you and that you must find something else to do. Today he continues to hunt, but only during specific hunting seasons for specific species. The foundation has also helped the hunters understand the limiting factors and cycles in which the population of various species expands and contracts. With the expansion of a wider world and globalization comes the benefit of spread knowledge and education so that we can hopefully stop the extinction of many species, but with this also comes the natural consequence that forces people and societies to change, which can often lead to loss of local culture, culture itself, and language, making it ever more important to the community members who actively preserve their customs, culture, and language to continue their work.
Speaking about being a hunter, one of the activities is to play target practice with an indigenous bow and arrow created from materials of the great Amazon rainforest itself. They're a little more imprecise compared to the manufactured bows and arrows that are more readily available in the modern world. This just goes to show how skilled these hunters must have been prior to the introduction of modern hunting tools.
This has been a dream come true, and automatically the ruggedness of the experience and the environment, in our greatest opinion, has put this as one of the best places you could visit in Colombia. This specific experience was so raw and real that it just gave us an even greater amount of appreciation for things we take for granted, such as all the modern conveniences of life like running water, electricity, air conditioning, access to grocery stores, the means of transportation, and so on. This experience also humbled us in such an impactful way that it has helped us to reflect on all these human-created inventions and systems of economy we live by in the modern and developed world. In contrast, we in the modern world, although more technologically advanced, we seem more anxious, excessively hardworking, and although connected closer with this technology, we seem more disconnected from ourselves, from our needs, from our health, from the things that give us energy, and therefore experience less happiness, it seems. And in short, many of us have stepped away from Mother Nature herself, and therefore our own biological nature. The experience of the Amazons will show you that we in the developed world are so far removed from nature that we fear it instead of embrace it. These people, the Takuna, and many other tribes and ethnic groups in the area, embrace and respect the abundance of biodiversity that surrounds them. In a remote region, so far removed from society, yet connected in a subtle way to society, the communities that live along the river and even deeper into the Amazons show us that our modern way of life we have created, the money we use and often work so hard for, and the pursuits of luxuries that drive us are not necessary for living a happy and fulfilled life. The people that live here profoundly show us something deeper, and although they may be comparatively poor in or lack modern conveniences, they are much richer in something else. They are richer in nature. And nature is something we could truly never fully live without. Even in the modern developed world, we need nature and will always need nature. We are biology, and that is something to never take for granted or be ignored.
We chose Cabañas Ecológicas Mu for a couple of reasons. And by the way, we're not sponsored by them or by anyone to make this video, but it was truly a genuinely great experience for the both of us staying with them.
Yeah, the first reason why we chose them is because we wanted an accommodation that was far from society and deeper in the jungle, and that's exactly what this was. I mean, we literally had to walk about 45 minutes, 55 minutes to get to the accommodation from the community after getting off the boat.
Second, we wanted to book an accommodation that would plan all of the activities for us because it would save us all the hassle of getting in touch with different agencies and tour guides. And the internet in the Amazon rainforest is not as reliable, so it would have been a fail anyways. And when you are in the boat or you are navigating the river, it is very difficult to know where to stop or where to get off the boat without someone accompanying you.
Third, the reviews on Google were 5 stars. They continue to be 5 stars even after our own visit, and we contributed to that rating.
Fourth, it was neat to learn that this was a family business. It was run by the entire family. Everyone was involved: grandma, daughter, the brothers, even the grandkids.
Fifth, they had really great customer service. In the process of just asking questions through WhatsApp, the responses were quick. They were very thorough, lots of details that gained our trust very quickly. And that's kind of how the experience was through the whole thing. They were very, very informative about everything, and very timely about things. So customer service was spot on.
Sixth, prices were very competitive compared to other accommodations that offer similar packages in the area. And it was truly a unique experience with them. If you choose to visit the Colombian Amazon rainforest, I really hope that you consider staying with Cabañas Ecológicas Mu. The experience with them was truly unforgettable.